That's cool.
It's like you're wearing a headband. It's cute.
It is, yeah. I should have brought my neon pink headband.
I'm sorry. Are you turning off the AC?
Oh God, please don't do that. I'll be sweating bullets if you turn the AC off.
The AC off.
It's coming right up my arm. Yeah, but all right.
I'll switch seats.
All right, no.
I'll sit there.
Do you want to?
Your world, buddy.
I like being pleasant.
It's that Viking blood.
That's right. That's right. From the mountains of Caucasus.
What is your actual European descent background?
Dad is Irish Catholic, so there's a little bit of Irish, and then my mom is a bit of a mutt, so French, German, Polish, and I think that's it.
It's like where's the Genghis Khan come into this?
I mean, he's probably influenced somewhere. I'd say to a degree. I don't know what percentage. I should do like a 23andMe just to see. It's like
You've never done 23andMe?
No. I want to know.
Say what?
Because I really...
With the amount of knowledge you have about the intricacies of your body,
there's got to be some Italian in there, I feel like.
Have you done like a genetic genome mapping of your DNA? I feel like, what's that guy who plays Thor?
Chris Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth did that whole genetic testing thing, right?
Yeah.
And found out that he had like the precursors for arthritis or like whatever it was, right? And like he changed his whole life.
Yeah. I know you can do genetic testing.
There's a whole documentary on Netflix about it.
You can do genome testing. Wow. So it's always good to know the data. It's like the whole bio-individuality where it's like, what is a general guidance, but then also it's like, what's specific to you? Like, are you deficient in vitamin D? Like, are you deficient in zinc? If you address that specifically, that's going to make a huge difference than if you just took like a multivitamin that somebody recommended.
So it's funny. I just got my daughter for her birthday a 23andMe set up. She's 15. She was like, I want to know what my.
Is this your way of getting a 23andMe for you for free?
I mean,
okay.
If you don't mind splurging, it's only $100.
So, have you ever been on a podcast before? Is this your first one?
This is technically the third podcast I've been on.
Third podcast.
But this is the most professional podcast that I've been on.
Expected.
I'll take it.
Expected.
You did?
Yeah.
That's right.
And you're still standing?
I put up 185 pounds.
Yeah. It was impressive,
on a squat? On a squat.
On a shoulder press.
Standing military press. That's
standing
right.
Military press.
Walk out, stand up, press it over your head. So this was this guy. Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah. I know.
So what's up, everyone at home? It's your boy Ankur. We're back with another episode of the Disruption Podcast. I am so stoked to introduce today's guest. He is someone who has recently become a really close friend of mine. And I mean, Ludwig, we had Munage on the show a couple episodes ago, and we got introduced to this idea of blue zones and human biohacking. And
life longevity.
Who you are.
Yeah.
And I'm in the supplement space, but there's only a few people in that space that actually know what they're talking about and like walk the walk. And I mean, this guy that we're about to introduce, he puts everyone else to shame. The way that he carries himself, the way that he talks, it's very impressive.
The way that he looks, I mean, his physique is insane.
So, ladies and gentlemen, the most gorgeous man that we have brought onto the Disruption Podcast,
I thought we were talking
Ludwig
about
Arroyo, my co-host.
Right.
Now, guys, let me introduce you guys to Henry Havey. How's it going, man?
Good to be here.
What's up?
Good to see you guys.
Good to see you, man.
I've never seen Henry smile so large before. He's like, can you just introduce me at all of my sales meetings from now on?
I think I have seen him smile that much.
If I could fly around as a hype man to all the trade shows and customer meetings,
that would be something.
Success would be through the roof.
I don't know if
That's a great role.
I don't know if the powers that be would make that decision.
I'll get you a t-shirt.
So the most important thing here is we got to lay down some ground rules of the things that we can or cannot say on the podcast. We normally don't do this when the camera's on. We just like lay it beforehand. So, I mean, there's a certain guy whose name starts with J. We're not going to talk about him.
Okay.
So we're not going to talk about that time that I gave free marketing advice and like didn't go anywhere, right? We're not going to talk about that. I can't talk about old business partners and their personal lives or anything like that. We understand that in the game.
That doesn't make sense.
I could totally talk about how much I hate GNC's business practices, right? And how they do like the whole bait and switch thing when they bring in new brands, and we could talk about that. We shouldn't talk about Ludwig's cholesterol levels. No one in the public needs to know about that. Anything I miss?
I think that's good.
All of this was in the pre-production meeting, so.
Are there any items that we're staying away from on your end?
I mean, I feel like now that we've covered what we can't talk about, I feel like we should dive in of what we can talk about.
Let's do it.
So, let's talk about how we met.
I was very young.
Naive.
Yeah.
You put on that red polo.
I was so full of hope and joy. Had that shine, had that sparkle. But it was it 2017, 2018 time frame?
So let's just go back for a second. At what point in your childhood did you decide that branded polos where it was going to be like your career path?
Well, so from the ages of let's say birth to probably 22, every Christmas I was given a Izod polo or a certain catalog from Belk. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Belk's. Very popular in the South. So grew up, born and
I just
raised.
want to point out that we have melanin in our skin, so I don't know if you would know.
Raleigh, North Carolina. So this is like a
Izod,
staple.
that's sold at Marshall's. So
Yeah.
I know about Izod.
Izod, we know.
Right. So it was a very classic, very very look to it. The khakis with the polos and stuff. Didn't do the Sperry's, didn't have the Croakies, but there's definitely a look to the South, right? It's very preppy, stuff like that. But polos, they're nice. And so then when you start working for companies and they have their little logo on the polo, it's like, all right, you know what? This is at least something that's not restrictive. It's not a button down. It's not, you don't have to wear a suit and tie. You could dress it up, you could dress it down.
Yeah.
But now it's I'd say for those that are familiar and that we've met in person, usually never without combat boots and a fanny pack. That's kind of the classic look.
I did notice the fanny pack.
I should have said the fanny pack is off limits. We can't talk about that. We're gonna lose so many viewers and subscribers.
Have you like consistently been on the fanny pack?
So
Or did you abandon it when the rest of the world abandoned
it's
it?
not called a fanny pack. It's Henry's
Man
magical
purse?
bag. Like what was it that like nanny that would like fly in on an umbrella?
Mary Poppins?
Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
like the male version of the Mary Poppins purse.
So that's
Anything
what you wanted to call
anything you could
call it?
dream of comes out of that container device of whatever we're gonna call it.
So you're saying anything that'll help me make me feel good will come out of that?
Anything you can dream of is in that fanny pack. I've asked for batteries. Batteries have come out of it. I've asked for electrolytes. Electrolytes have come out of it. I've asked for gum. Gum has come out of it. I mean, cologne has come out of it.
Whatever you need on a good night, it's gonna
digestive
come out of that.
enzymes, car
Now,
keys.
the one thing that I learned that's most important, and as you guys learn more about our relationship, Henry doesn't believe in keeping things in its original package. You know how like growing up you would like go to get like yogurt or something out of the fridge, but then you open it and it's like a rice dish or like beans in like a different container.
Oh, okay.
The one thing in this fanny pack is like no one will know the chaos of the organization of what's in it.
And see, that originates from grew up in Raleigh, North Carolina, so from the South originally, right? So on my mom's side, there's her family name is the Deadmans. So there's the Kendricks and the Deadmans, right? And a classic family trait is the unique ability to turn anything possible into a box. And a box has one job. It is to store stuff. Now, an old refrigerator is a box. A empty Folgers can is a box. A shoebox is a box. But you never put the thing which originally came in that package in this box.
Yeah.
And so
Why?
I asked that question many times. One of my late uncles that unfortunately passed away, he had an entire shed. This was a 3,000 square foot shed that was filled with stuff. The shed was a box. And inside this shed was at least, I believe we counted 17 cars in a variety of disarray, all filled to the roof with stuff.
Oh my God.
There was about 3 broken refrigerators that one of them was just filled with wrenches. And then there was about 12 different lawnmowers. It was a collector of sorts, nothing valuable, but a collector. And so I think that really, really made an impact on when it comes to supplement bottles. A label, it's just an ornament. It's really decoration. I mean, what's in the bottle is really what counts.
Right.
But what you're looking at is basically the size of a box. Now, you could take a big tub of protein. That's a 2-pound jug. That takes up a lot of space in a suitcase. But if you have a small BCAA bottle, like a 32 ounce, you could then transport the protein into a smaller container. And now you save space in your suitcase.
That's dangerous.
The problem is most people pay attention to the label.
Yeah.
And they think it has value. A common joke I tell you is like, you need a label. I could print you a label today. I'll tell you, it's like, it is what I says it is.
So if I go to your house, I have to be careful what I'm grabbing and what, right? If I see a protein, there might not be protein in there.
Forget your house. Just if you go into our kitchen in the office right now, things might have changed. We don't know what's going to be where. There were samples that were picked up earlier today. Yeah. I don't know where they've been stored at this point. Man.
So this is leading into your fanny pack, right?
So,
this is how.
So leading into the fanny pack. So to circle back to the question is, have I always been committed to the fanny pack? So I'll give credit to my girlfriend, Jennifer Gates. She was the first one that introduced me to the incredible world of fanny packs. Previous to meeting her, I was a pocket guy. You know, you keep your phone in your pocket, your keys in your pocket, your headphones, right? At the end of the day, it affects the pleat of the pants. It's like you got like a big old imprint, on the left butt cheek, right? It's like your front pocket's all stuffed with your keys. Folds, right. It's like, it doesn't have that crisp aesthetic feel to it, right? So then she's like, well, I'm about to blow your mind. And she wore a fanny pack, and I did make fun of her. I completely will admit this. And she's like, well, you know what? What if you wore a fanny pack? And so I was like, well, let me try this. These like things you do for love. And so I got myself a pair of jorts that were real stretchy. So there wasn't a lot of give in the pockets to store things. So at this point, the fanny pack was essential. And then I realized not only can you keep your phone, keys, wallet, headphones in there, you can also keep a lot of snacks. Beef jerky sticks, protein bars, maybe some pistachios, some gum. And it truly did become just kind of this black box of things. Until oftentimes, you go through the routine cleaning of it, and then you discover little trinkets and treats and like gifts that you left yourself. But
it's a really good sales pitch, man, for the fanny pack.
And henryhavey.com. We have 20% off on our fanny packs, branded. And it is functional. And so you could dress it up, dress it down. The only time I will not wear fanny packs is with a suit.
When was the first time you saw the fanny pack?
Probably in sometime in the 90s.
No, his fanny pack, not a general
his fanny pack.
Everyone knows that you've been around fanny packs your whole life.
I'm pretty sure I saw it when we met out in Vegas.
Okay. So people at home don't know this, but Henry has kind of been part of our, what I call expo crew, where when we're going to these big shows, whether it's Vegas, whether it's Ohio, whether it's Anaheim, whether it's the Javits Center in New York, we roll deep with the crew of people who all know each other, who all enjoy each other's company. And this is where the fanny pack was first noticed. And I can't remember. It was like a girl needed a safety pin. He was like, got it. It's like a girl was like, oh, man, I need some Tylenol or something. He's like, I got that too. We're going to an all-you-can-eat steakhouse. I'm like, yo, I wish I had some digestive enzymes. He's like, hold on a second. Pulls out digestive enzymes. I'm just like, how did this happen? And then at the same time, I'm like, I love this, and I want to make fun of it at the same time, but I can't because he just solved the major problem for me.
Yeah.
But
there's a lot of utility in this, and I don't know. I'm thinking about it now.
You know what? It's a new brand, functional fashion. It's functional. It serves a purpose, and boy, does it look good in a pair of jorts.
So, have you gotten into, since we're talking about fanny packs? Obviously, there's been this fashion trend where you wear it crossbody, right? Have you done that? Is that, or you only wear traditional rock style?
I mean, first you'd have to have a strap this big to go around.
That's a problem.
But I have seen those.
Yeah.
I have seen those, and I would say the draw there is it's a great hand rest because you can just kind of hold on to it, right?
Yeah.
But no, I haven't actually worn those. It's always been around the waist. It's just right there where you need it.
I mean, Gucci, Louis, like the airplanes where they, for like people that are plus sized,
Yeah.
have to get that extra seatbelt extender.
Yeah.
We need a
The crossbody
extender.
Yeah.
Yeah, an extended strap for the athletic build.
Yeah,
We'll say that.
for sure.
So,
I think I'm in. I think I'm going to try one out.
but yeah, so it's coming back. I'd say it's a lost leader, really. So here we are at the ground level of the fanny pack resurgence.
You guys heard it here, HenryHavey.com. Use code Save Ludwig, and you'll get 20%. So let's tell everyone at home what was the most impressive thing about Henry when we're meeting him at these shows and stuff. Because I could talk about this man for hours.
First of all, his knowledge of supplements. He had a deep. So we would go around to all the booths. It was actually at the Arnold that I met you, not in Vegas. And we would hit different booths and obviously your manufacturing knowledge, your ingredient knowledge. We had a podcast with Mark from Amp Nutra, and he was one of the first guys I met that really took me back to the old age of just mixing ingredients at home, right before he started a business, and he was the guy at the gym that was telling people what they should take to get muscles and to get energy. And I feel like you're in that same cut from that same cloth. So. Can you talk a little bit about how you got that way? How you growing up, how you became the nerdy kind of fitness guy to talk about all those ingredients?
Did you just call Henry Havey the nerdy fitness guy?
Exactly right. Yeah. I mean, there's a table in between us. You know what I'm saying? So
the way I describe Henry is that how like you go to the gym and there's that one guy who is like slinging supplements out of his trunk. And then there's that other guy who spends 30 minutes explaining to you what the supplements do and just gives it to you for free out of his fanny pack. That's Henry Havey.
Got it.
Right. I don't think he's been that. He's not that sleazy guy that's like, yo, you have to get this or whatever.
Yeah.
Just like, really, tell me what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
And then you break it down what you're trying to achieve. And he's like, you're going about this wrong, buddy. You got to make some changes. And then he drops so much knowledge in the next 30 minutes that if you don't take out your phone or start writing notes, you're going to lose it.
And everybody that we spoke to when we went out to dinner those few nights, the steak, it was constant knowledge, new products, innovative products, all natural, everything was coming out of this guy's mouth. So yeah, where did that start?
Well, I'd say the passion started for working out, like lifting weights, just getting into fitness, stuff like that. When I was 16, and growing up, I ran cross country in high school, middle school, high school. And so I graduated high school at about 160 pounds. And then the second I crossed the finish line, senior year state championship, which we won, by the way.
Nice.
So yeah, 2012.
Are you a state champion cross country runner?
A former version of me was. I told myself literally as I was like breaking the ribbon, I was like, I don't have to run anymore. And now I can just go to the gym and lift weights because that's all I wanted to do. And so I would run during the season, and then off season still would run, but I'd go to the gym with my dad. So that's kind of where it started, working out in the garage, had a Bowflex, did P90X, P90X2. And then we bolted a pull-up bar to the side of the wall, but because, we did it ourselves and we just executed rather than measuring it. The pull-up bar was slightly tilted. So one lat got real good development. The other lat, not as much. You constantly had to switch every time you did a rep. You had to face different ways. But that's where it started. It was kind of like the passion for health and fitness. And so then graduated high school, went to college, and all I did was lift weights, eat. Was working at GNC selling supplements. And then that's when I really got into nutrition and sports science. And so I went in and I was fascinated with what you eat, what you put in your body, how it affects like how you feel, how you look, like how much energy you have. And I was really interested in like sports performance, sports nutrition. It's like, all right, I want to put on more muscle. I want to get stronger. I want to get bigger. I want to get leaner. And so that's kind of where it originated. And then it was just this constant desire to learn more. When I would be working at GNC, if no customers were coming in, I would be scanning the bottles all day, just reading the ingredients, reading the claims, any type of article, scientific study I get my hands on. I would just spend hours just learning, just reading. And then textbooks where you learn about nutrition science, biochemistry, organic chemistry, all that fun stuff. I would learn it during the day, but then I'd be able to apply it at night. And so it was really, it was a way to kind of cement that knowledge and be able to categorize and organize it. So it was there at the ready to where you could be learning about the different isomers of an enantiomer. And then you go in that night and you're just like, well, actually, here's why it says alpha lipoic acid or like L carnitine or stuff like that. It's like, well, it's the L isomer, it's the R isomer. And so you give them that science and they look at you like you're talking Greek. They're just like, I don't even know what you said, son. Yeah. But then you can explain it. You're just saying, it's like, well, this is the science, but this is the layman's terms. And that's where I really found the value of, you can be book smart all day, but if you are unable to meet the person where they are, and explain it to them in a language and in terminology that they can understand, what good is the knowledge that you have? Right. And that's really what kind of made me realize that it's like, hey, there's this topic that I'm really passionate about, that I'll go deep on the literature, like really get into the weeds with it, but then be able to kind of come back up to the surface and say, all right, I want to tell people about this. I want to share it. It's like, hey, guess what I learned?
Let me ask you a question. How angry does it make you? I find whenever I talk to guys like yourself, where there are products out there that are just marketed like to the nth degree, and they're out there and they're trash. Like, talk to me about anger. The amount of anger, the level of anger that you see when you see people digesting products that you're like, this is the worst thing in the world.
Is it frustrating to see bad actors that give the supplement space a tarnished name exist? Yes. It's very frustrating because then it's typically those products, it's typically those brands that'll then taint someone that has never taken a supplement before, and they buy something that they saw, $9.99, $19.99, something like that, promises them the world. And it's pretty much rice flour. There's nothing in there.
Right.
And they take it and they don't feel anything. They don't get results. They don't see an effect. And they're like, waste of time, waste of money. Supplements, it's just a big hack, right? And it's frustrating because that was the first impression. And when you see companies like that make products, yes, you have that righteous anger. It's like, come on. You had the ability to make something with an efficacious dose. You had the ability to make a good product, but you didn't want to. You wanted to make something cheap, cut corners, do a prop blend, pixie dust stuff in there, and then spend most of your funds on the marketing. If you can tell a great story, sure, you can sell the product. Yep. But it's like every good salesperson's, a great piece of advice that I got from one of my mentors when I was working at Brentag was, anybody can tell enough lies to get the first PO. What you want is the 10th PO. Yeah. You don't want the order, you want the business. And that's what I feel like a lot of these companies are. It's like, sure, you can sell that product, but if it's not going to deliver, if it's not properly dosed, if it's an ineffective product, quite frankly, if it's a waste of money, sure, you got the sale, but you're not going to get the reorder. You're not going to get subscribe and save. Right. And you've actually done a lot more damage because now you've turned off that person to even going back to the space and trying a product that is properly dosed, that is going to give them results. And so it's a constant battle that I run into when I talk to people that are outside of the industry, because I tell them what I do. It's like, hey, I work for a raw material manufacturer. I primarily sell ingredients to make supplements with. And there's always this look, and it's like, it's kind of, it's unique when you hear it. And you look at them and you're just like, okay, what are they thinking when I tell them that I help companies make supplements? What was their experience? What lens are they looking at this industry in? Because there's a ton of great brands. There's a ton of quality products, but they exist right on the same shelf with some of these other ones. So there is a little bit of this righteous anger and frustration where you're just like, come on, guys. However, because there is the duality, so there is kind of like the different sides, and it's actually something I have I wear on my body as a tattoo. Is you have the which I don't know if you guys can see, but it's a wolf on the outside and it's a wolf on the inside, and it's two different wolves, and it's like the harsh wolf and the gentle wolf, right? So the gentle wolf is coming at it from like the righteous side. It's like, no, like let's actually help people here.
Right.
The harsh wolf on the other side is looking at it from purely an opportunistic mindset. I'm like, you know what? These guys are charlatans, but damn are they good at what they do.
Right.
They are silver-tongued devils. They can say the exact same thing. They tell you what you want to hear. They can word it the right way, the way they designed it, the marketing. And I was like, you've got skill, bud. Mm-hmm. But I was like, if only you could redirect it just slightly to the left.
If only you could use your power for good.
Exactly. And I think that that resonates with me because that's something I was told actually when I was in college as a nutrition science major. My advisor, she pulled me into her office and she's like, I see you going one of two ways. I was like, okay. I'm 18, mind you. She's, I see you going one of two ways. You're either going to find like the cure for cancer or something that's going to have tremendous altruistic value to the world, or there'll be a multi-billion-dollar scam that just broke and we see you running from a camera.
Interesting.
And I heard that as an 18-year-old kid, and I was just like, okay.
Yeah.
Well, this is, I was just trying to figure out what classes I was supposed to sign up for.
She really believed in you, you know?
Yeah. And then
I would take that as a compliment.
All I heard was, I'll give you money. Just tell me what to buy. That's all I heard.
Exactly.
So, okay. We had an old colleague of mine from a previous company come on the show, Ankit. And he came out with a product that it sells essentially collagen as an ingredient that goes into a lifestyle brand and people getting into fitness and so on and so forth. The brand's called Havey. Let's take a quick trial of the Henry Havey School of Education. So, you described that you would educate people on an ingredient like the weeds, and then you'd like figure out how to explain it in layman's terms, right? So I think in layman's terms, everyone knows collagen is good for hair, skin, nails, so on and so forth. But what does collagen really do when someone takes it in a supplement form? Go ahead, nerd out. You have full permission to nerd out.
well, not all collagen's the same. So we'll start with
Say
that.
what?
Uh-oh.
What do you mean?
Shocker. Right. So you've got different types of collagen. Now, when I say different types, I mean, that's going to be two different definitions. You have different feedstocks that you can produce collagen from. You have bovine collagen, which is usually derived from cow hides or the actual cartilage. So there's bovine bone collagen, there's bovine hide collagen. Then you have porcine collagen derived from pig skins. You have chicken collagen, which is derived from the sternums of chickens. You have eggshell membrane collagen, which if you ever boiled a hard-boiled egg and you crack it and it has that thin layer that you got to peel, you can actually get collagen from that. And then you have marine collagen, which is taken from fish skins and scales. Typically, the scales are attached to the skin. So you've got these different feedstocks, right? Now, of those, people ask us like, well, what's different? Like, okay, you can get collagen from different animals, but is there one that's better than the other? Is there one that's more bioavailable? Yeah. And the answer to that is, if you look at the human body, there's 28 types of collagen in your body, right? Now, of that, 90% is type 1. So if you go and you buy a collagen product and it says it has type 1 collagen, you get an A-. You've covered 90% of your collagen demands, right? Now, let's back up a little bit further. Your body is made up of, protein, water, some other stuff like that.
I just want to let everyone know that my Asian mother does not approve of an A-. So we have to do better. How do we get to A+? Please tell us more.
Let's do better.
So of the protein that's in your body, a third of it is collagen. So collagen is very important in your body, right? Collagen naturally will start to decline once you get about 30. Your collagen levels will start dropping. So then it's like your skin gets a little more wrinkly. It starts thinning out. Your hair is not as lustrous. Your nails start starting to get brittle. Your joints hurt. So it's like collagen is very important, right? Now, of those 28 types, 90% of that is type 1. Type 2 is typically found in the cartilage. So think of the little pillow cushions in between your bones. So basically, it's like when your knees are nice and juicy and you can move and they don't snap, crackle, pop. When we were all young playing basketball and everybody had great knees, you had a lot of cartilage, right? Type 2 collagen helps that cartilage regenerate. Type 3 is found where type 1 is. Type 1, 90%. Hair, skin, nails, bones, joints, ligaments, tendons, GI tract, eyes. It's found in a lot of places. Type 4 is found where type 2 is. Think of the joints. So think of it this way. The odd numbers go together, the even numbers go together.
Yep.
As the numbers go up, type 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way to 28, the amount and the presence in the body goes down. So rarely, and I'll go on record saying this, rarely will you see a company marketing type 18 collagen, because at the end of the day, it's probably 0.0001%.
Right.
So most of the collagen products that exist are usually types 1 or 1 and 3, or you have these multi-collagen products. And usually what they're doing is they're combining marine, bovine, chicken, eggshell, and you get 1, 2, 3, 5, and 10. 5 and 10 comes from eggshell, 1 and 3 from fish and beef, type 2 is from chicken. And so the idea is multiple types, multiple benefits, it's found in the body, right? Now, you asked, it's like, well, what happens when you take collagen? What are the effects? Why would you take collagen? There's about 3 different categories that collagen plays in. There's beauty from within, hair, skin, and nails. So think of, all the things that make you look beautiful. Typically a lot of women's products, it's hair, skin, and nails, it's beauty from within. Collagen dominates that space. That's, I'd say, the number one outlet for collagen. The second space that we see collagen really taking off is bone and joint health, type 2. Type 1 is also found in the joints, but type 2 more specifically. And then the third category that collagen really is starting to shine in, it's kind of tied. Sports nutrition and anti-aging. They kind of oscillate between 3. And one of the things that the beauty from within category has is just longevity. It's great for the hair, it's great for the skin, it's great for the nails. And so collagen is used to basically replace or replenish what your body's losing as you age. So the older you are, the more benefits you would get from taking collagen.
So let me ask, I'm always skeptical of products like this, and I always, like with my girlfriend, I'm always like, why are you taking that? That's not going to reach it. Is it truly going to make your hair grow, or is it going to make your hair stronger, or is it going to stop your hair from aging sooner, or all 3? You know what I'm saying? So like the actual benefits of collagen.
It's like going to the gym, bro. You go to the gym once, you have a 6-pack. Right? Like, isn't that how it works? You just got to take one collagen shake and all of a sudden you're 10 years younger?
If that was the case, then I would have record sales in Q1 and I would be flatlined the rest of the year. With collagen, it is a dose-dependent response. So the more collagen you take, the more of the peptides that you have floating out throughout the body, the more of the benefits that you're going to get. When it comes to the hair, it is going to help with the integrity. So it's going to help with the fullness of the hair. It may not regrow hair, but I've had anecdotal evidence from customers saying, hey, I took this product and my hair got thicker. It got fuller. It got more vibrant. It's like it came alive.
Got it.
I've had that same thing talking about people's fingernails. They're like, oh my gosh, like my nails would break. They would chip. They'd constantly be very, very brittle. I started taking collagen and now it's like they're really firm. And now I got to cut my fingernails because it's like they're really healthy. And so you hear all these customers and consumers telling you this. So it's like, okay, it is effective. It is working.
Right.
It's just a matter of, are you replenishing what you lost? Are you augmenting what you already produce? And so we kind of categorize it as like, is it preventative? Is it a protective? And then there was another category that we had. And so across the board, whether you're 25, 55, 75, anybody could benefit from collagen.
So what's the bioavailability of the collagen when you're taking a collagen shake? I mean, let's say, what's an average dose of collagen? 10 grams?
About 10.
Grams, 10 something. Okay. So like, how much what is happening when it goes into your stomach and then gets into your GI tract and like whatever else?
Yeah. So again, we've got different feedstocks. So you got bovine, porcine, marine, chicken, stuff like that. If you're looking at the bioavailability, one of the other things we could look at is the biocompatibility of the collagen. So looking at the amino acid profile. Now, again, we have collagen that our body naturally produces. It has a very specific amino acid profile. Each one of these feedstocks that we derive collagen from, they have their own unique amino acids. They all have the same amino acids. It's just the ratios is what's going to be different. So the number one amino acid that's in collagen is glycine. That's the one that's the most common. Number 2 is hydroxyproline. Number 3, it's usually lysine, hydroxylysine, or something of the like, right? But they're typically found in a tripeptide, 3 amino acids bound together in a repeating pattern. So it looks like, for those that are familiar with what a landline phone is, where it has a helix, so it's kind of like the circular thing. It's a triple helix. So if you look at the structure of collagen, it looks like a rotary cord, right? And when you're
like, what's a landline phone cord look like? And I'm like, oh, you're talking about that
Right.
slinky thing, right?
a slinky would probably be better.
Yeah.
For an older reference.
Yeah, wait, slinky even older than a phone? Oh, geez. Man, when did the slinky come out? Oh, man.
Probably the 90s. But so once you ingest collagen, because it's typically oral, there's a lot of supplements you see collagen. Yes, you could do collagen injections. Yes, you could do collagen creams and serums. We're not really going to focus on those right now. Mainly just when you're drinking a collagen shake, what happens? So when you digest collagen, typically the powder that's in the bottle is already to a degree pre-digested under the term hydrolyzed. So what that means is we'll add enzymes to that big collagen structure, and think of the enzymes like scissors. They're just cutting up that helix. They're cutting up that cord, right, into small, digestible, bioavailable pieces. Those pieces we call peptides. Those peptides could vary in length. You could have a dipeptide, 2 amino acids, a tripeptide, 3 amino acids, or an oligopeptide, which is multiple amino acids. The size of the peptide, the length of the peptide, is really going to play a part in the molecular weight. So basically, how big is it, how long is it, and stuff like that. So the more enzymes that you add, the more scissors, the more you're cutting up that structure, the smaller the pieces are. So when you're digesting the collagen, what happens is it's pretty much continuing that process. Your body's already making enzymes, proteases, because collagen is a protein, and those break down protein. And so it'll continue to break up those pieces. Now, what the research will show is that sometimes those peptides, they get digested all the way down to their individual amino acids. So glycine just by itself is absorbed, by itself. But what a lot of the research is showing is that not all the pieces get fully broken down. Some of them actually get absorbed intact in that di and tripeptide state. And that's where you get the nutraceutical benefit. Because a lot of people, they'll ask, it's like, well, because this is a question I get asked is, well, if I want the most bioavailable, shouldn't I be consuming the smallest form? Because that'd be the easiest to digest, right? Now, that logic sounds like that would make sense. Sure. But when you find that actually those di and tripeptides, some of them do get absorbed intact, you don't want to break up everything, because then you're just left with free-form amino acids. And if we know from organic chemistry, structure equals function, if you cut up the structure, you inactivate the function. And the function of collagen is for repair, rebuilding, restoring, stuff like that. So customers will ask, they'll just like, well, what if I just took a mixture of amino acids similar to the amino acid profile on collagen? Wouldn't that be the most effective? Right. The answer is no. Because yes, they exist all in their free form, but they're not bound together. Their structure is different. And that kind of, that then you could go down rabbit holes as far as like, well, is one collagen more bioavailable than the other? Is which one better? It's interesting in different markets. Some markets like Korea, for example, they really focus on the size of that chunk, the size of that peptide. And they say, well, the smallest one is the most superior. The problem with that is that it's a limiting focus, because what we also know about amino acids and what we also know about structure equals function with protein is not all amino acids taste good. I'm not sure if you guys have ever had just pure arginine or pure leucine, they do not taste pleasant. It's very bitter. It's not a good flavor. Contrast that with glycine. Glycine is very sweet. If you took a spoonful of glycine, it's almost like it kind of feels like you took a spoonful of sugar.
Right.
Like it's really pleasant. So when you cut up all those pieces, you're exposing all those amino acids, and you're exposing the sensory of those amino acids. So the flavor may not be as good. Ideally, when you take collagen, you want it to be pretty neutral. You don't want to drink something that's unpleasant, right? Because typically people add collagen to their cup of coffee, they put it in a smoothie, someone just add it to water and drink it.
Right.
We don't want it to be a burden to take a product that's good for you. We want it to actually be enjoyable. The other side of that is, aside from the flavor, is looking at the solubility. That's another big question that customers ask. Can you imagine taking a scoop of sawdust and putting it in your cup of coffee? It's not going to dissolve.
Right.
It'll just float on the surface.
IKEA sells that, right? For like
Sawdust?
$2.99.
I think so.
So,
I love you, IKEA. Don't bag me from IKEA.
but that's because it's hydrophobic. So it doesn't like water. So amino acids, they're hydrophilic and they're hydrophobic. Some of them, they love water, hydrophilic. They'll go right into solution. Those are the ones we like. But there's also amino acids that are hydrophobic. They don't really like water. They'll float on the surface.
Lovick, are you hydrophobic or hydrophilic?
Philic. Yes, sir.
So you float?
Mm-hmm. Easy.
You swim, no problem?
No problem.
I am definitely phobic. I sink straight to the bottom.
Really?
Yeah.
I think we should
Scuba diving is a very scary thing for me, but I still try.
Man.
You know when the guy goes around like adjusting weights? Yo, I was freaking out
The
because I just
joys
kept
of
sinking and
vacationing.
sinking and sinking. So, I mean, it's clear to see Henry knows everything
Yeah.
about the topic, right?
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and pick a different topic and let's see how Henry approaches it. You got one?
In the supplement world?
Yeah, another ingredient. What is this ingredient do?
Colostrum.
Ooh, colostrum.
It's something that obviously Armor is a big brand, right? They're selling colostrum. What do you think about that as a product and its viability and all that good stuff?
So colostrum, if I recall, that's typically what's produced in mother's milk and breast milk. And it's usually in a very high concentration towards the beginning. So cool thing about breastfeeding is the concentration, but also the makeup of the milk will change based on the infant's needs. It's a phenomenal thing that happens, but basically it's like, and it's not like the mother knows this. It's not like she's changing the formula of her breast milk and everything like that. No, like this is what is occurring with that mother-child bond, to where it's giving the nutrients in the right amounts, in the right ratios, exactly what the child needs as they're developing.
Crazy.
And it's incredible. And so it's like, so with colostrum, it's a compound that's found there in a very bioavailable amount. So it's very easy to digest. It's great for the immunity. It's great for the development of the child. And so with products like Amra that use colostrum, there's a lot of benefits there. There's a lot of benefits to recovery. There's a lot of benefits of anti-inflammation, just immunity and stuff like that. It's one that it depends on what your goal is. It depends on who you are as a demographic. Are you someone that's just like an active health and fitness enthusiast, which most of us I would consider would be? It's like, hey, we enjoy moving, we enjoy staying healthy. Colostrum would be a great product to take to say, all right, well, I'm going to help with the recovery. I'm going to help keep my immune system up. So that way, as I'm going about the day, and let's say you're exercising, exercise is a stressor, you're able to recover from that. So you can come back stronger, you can come back quicker.
Would you suggest, I mean, if we talk about supplements in our daily intake, we can add colostrum to the list. We can add collagen to the list. Obviously, pre-workout, post-workout. I mean, potentially someone can have 10, 12 pills and a couple powders a day. Is that something that, I always thought about that as like, can that ever be a negative, right? Where, you're taking a pre-workout, you're taking a post-workout. Now you're adding colostrum, collagen. I'm sure there's a ton of other stuff that I'm aminos, right? BCAAs, that was huge. And then there was the stuff that we were putting in coffee. It was a few years ago, it was huge.
Bullet.
MCT oil?
MCT oil was a big one. That was hot for a second. I don't know if it's still hot. There's a lot of stuff that we're taking into the body now. Cool with that? Okay, not okay? Is there such thing as too much?
The thing I love about the U.S. is there's a pill for everything.
Yeah.
There's a powder for everything.
Yeah.
The thing I love about the supplement industry is we took that and just amplified it.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to, you could take 240 pills a day, every day. You could take 27 different powders if you wanted to. Now, background again is nutrition and sports science. In that industry, they're always food first. Focus on real food, actual food, something you can grow out of the ground, something you can kill, something you can harvest. Yeah. Stuff that's been around for 100 plus years, that's usually going to be the better form. Food is going to have a lot of those compounds, a lot of those ingredients in combination with synergists. And you lose that complexity when you're extracting and isolating a specific compound. So you could let's look at steak, favorite food. But steak it's got creatine, it's got iron.
How many steaks do you think this man eats in a week?
2 a day, so at least 10.
The answer is 25. I'm not kidding. 25 different steaks.
That's about
this
right.
man eats in a week.
That's about right. No.
Are you serious?
I love steak.
Seriously.
I love steak.
I mean, I've sat at the table with him eating steak, so I know he's a steak aficionado. I didn't know it was. Damn,
we went to a Brazilian steakhouse, and they're like, "Do you want chicken, sir?" And he's like, "Get that white meat away from me. Bring the steak back." I was just like, "All right, so let's talk about breaking down steak. Break it down."
So it's like, you look at steak, and you've got your micronutrients. Obviously, you've got the macronutrient protein. You've got some fats in there. It's going to have a lot of what you could get in a supplement in isolation, but already combined with other synergists. Mm-hmm. Now, if I were to tell you or ask you if you wanted a really good protein source, like let's say your goal is to build muscle, right? And someone says, all right, I want to build muscle. Okay, I know I need to take protein. I have options. I could do a protein shake. I could do steak. Mm-hmm. Or I could do, I'm going to piss a lot of people off. I could do plants. Now, if you were to look at all three, right? The protein shake, yes, you're going to hit your calories. You're going to hit your macros. Yes, you're going to have protein. Whey protein's great. Egg protein's great. Beef protein's great. But then if you look at the steak, and this is what a lot of people will say, and I've actually noticed it myself, it's really hard to overeat steak. I don't know if you guys have ever sat down to like a bowl of steak.
Whoa, it's not that hard.
Can you do it? Yes, but your satiety factor will kick in. You'll get the meat sweats. You'll start sweating. You get really hot because the thermic effect of protein is very high. But it's like you just feel different when you get most of your micronutrient needs from food rather than from supplements.
In a good way.
In a good way. Now, it always comes with an asterisk. It always comes with it depends, because if we look at the nutrient value in our food supply over the last few years, well, I'd say more than a few years, yes, it has gone down. So supplements, I'd say in the past, were a nice to have. Now I would make the argument to say
they're a must have.
They're a need to have.
Yeah.
Because we're deficient in certain minerals. We're deficient in certain vitamins. We're deficient in certain herbs and botanicals and stuff like that. Could we get them from the diet? Sure, it'd be very difficult. How many of us are actually eating 17 servings of fruits and veggies from a variety of different colors? No. I'm not.
No. Well, we know. You only eat steak, eggs, rice.
So
hold on. Let's talk about this direction of where society's going and disruption. And because this is the disruption podcast, right? We could hear Henry talk about nutrients and macro stuff all day long.
All day.
Let's talk about something that has a chokehold on our American society.
Politics?
No, definitely not politics.
Okay.
So this idea of weight loss, and there's certain new clinical things that you can take by going to your doctor, and like different variations, different brands that have come out of certain things, and you being a master of biohacking and understanding what you put into your body, and what's your stance on all this weight loss stuff? Like now there's weight loss supplements, which I'm a little famous for. shameless plug. But now there's like clinics that people are going to. There's literally a clinic across the street from our office.
Yeah.
In our studio where, people are going and starting to stab themselves once a day, taking pills once a day, doing all sorts of different stuff. Not when I say stab, I mean with like a syringe.
I think they got it.
I don't know. There's people watching right now that are just like, did he just say stab themselves?
Have there been developments in the space to expedite weight loss? Yeah, there's been a lot of cool things that have come to market over the last few years.
Pro.
There's if you want to talk on the pharmaceutical side, if you want to talk on the supplement side.
Let's jump to the fact that all these clinics are popping up all over the country.
You got weight loss clinics popping up because you're going to have a steady customer base in the U.S.
I mean, the highest rate of obesity in the world is in this country, right? We totally understand that. But then, I don't know. I look at it like, if you're someone who's looking to make lifestyle changes, you're getting pulled in so many different directions, and you don't really know what you should do. I mean, you look at Christina Aguilera and her weight loss transformation with the drop that she just had of her live album. And people are like, she looks like Megan Fox, right? And, when she was on national TV as a judge, like, it was a very different look on that show. So, I mean, what do we do? Like, what direction do you take? Do you go for the short fix? Do you go for the long fix? Do you go for the medical fix?
Yeah, it's funny. I think you hit it right on the head. It's a short fix versus long fix. It's easy versus hard, putting in the hard work of working out and dieting. And
I'm not going to lie. I got a prescription.
Of?
I don't know. I've never picked it up. It's just sitting at Walgreens.
It's tempting, right? It's tempting, yeah.
And the truth is that I went to go pick it up when the doctor gave it to me, and then it was like, sorry, bud, we're out of stock. I'm like, pharmacies can be out of stock and stuff? Apparently, and they're like, yeah, you gotta wait 2 months, and we'll get it for you. But you gotta pay for it today, and we'll put you in the queue. And I'm just like, this sounds like something Shreds might have done at some point. Yeah. We were out of stock a few times, but I was like, this is weird.
I mean,
and then I just never went back.
I mean, to your point, where it's like you get the short fix, you get the long fix. Yes, everybody wants instant gratification. Everybody wants to see results yesterday. Yeah. Everybody wants to do the least amount of work to get the most amount of results, right? It's natural. It's not that everybody's lazy. It's just that's a natural, normal desire is to reduce the amount of effort to achieve a goal, right? However, I would challenge that with a statement that somebody told me, is saying that anything that's worth having is not going to come easy. Yeah. Anything that is of value, that is really going to make a difference, is going to require a level of sacrifice. It's going to require some degree of effort to obtain.
I don't know, man. I just feel like that might not be the case of where society's going. I mean, look, you want to lose weight, go on Ozempic. You want to learn some stuff.
What type of weight are you losing on Ozempic?
Okay, let's get into that. I don't know the answers to those science questions because I never actually picked up the prescription.
20 to 40% of weight lost on these GLP-1 agonist medications is muscle mass. Almost half of the weight you lose on these medications is muscle mass.
Not my muscles.
Now think.
I need those.
What does muscle do? Yeah, it's strong.
It helps burn fat.
Muscle burns fat. Muscle is very metabolically active. Muscle requires calories to exist. It burns calories. The more muscle you have, the higher your basal metabolic rate is. The more calories you're going to burn just by sitting still. So when you talk to your grandmother, your aunt, your sister, all the people that are like, oh, I want to lose weight. I want to burn fat. The first thing is, let's build some muscle. Oh God, I don't want to get too big. I don't want to get too bulky. Heavens forbid. Okay. No. The more muscle you have, one, the better your metabolism is. So you're going to be burning more calories. Two, muscle is very, very dense. So you look at 10 pounds of muscle, you look at 10 pounds of fat. It doesn't take up the same amount of space. That's why it's like, I love being in the gym because you can look at people's physique and it's like, it's always a fun game. It's like, I wonder how much that person weighs. You will be always surprised because someone that has a lot of muscle and is very, very lean, you're just like, I don't know. Especially women. Because women, they really want to lose, they want to be in shape, they want to be fit, but they don't want to get bulky. And that's a common myth that is often perpetrated. But it's like if you have a woman that has a lot of muscle, she has a lot of curves, natural curves that really accentuate the physique. The more muscle, better metabolism, you get that toned, sculpted look that you're desiring. But muscle is important. So if you lose muscle on these weight loss medications, and basically let's say you drop 50 pounds, if 25 pounds of that is muscle, what you've done is you've essentially decreased your metabolism performance. You've limited the amount of calories that you can burn just by setting skill. Now it's going to require more effort to maintain that weight loss because you've taken apart the engine. You've dialed it down. Now it doesn't have the same performance.
Have you gotten, I know you're not a doctor, so it's hard for you to say this, I'm sure, but have you gotten that question from people, hey, should I go on Ozempic? Or even on the male side, things like TRT, like, are those things that people come to you for recommendations on?
I'm not a medical professional.
The answer is eat more steak.
But it's again, dose makes the poison. So could you use, and everything is a tool in the toolbox. Mm-hmm. So it's like, could you employ these medications, these protocols, supplements, whatnot, in a somewhat healthy manner to achieve the goal? Yeah, you could easily do that. It is going to take a lot more knowledge. It is going to take a lot, I would say, guidance and having some sort of oversight from a medical professional. But like when you brought it like TRT or HRT clinics, it's like that's a whole nother category that you see a lot of these clinics popping up.
Yeah.
And if we look at you want to talk about an epidemic, look at the declining testosterone rates in men. Look at the declining sperm rates in men. Since 1973, there's been a 50% reduction in the average testosterone rates in men. 20-year-olds today have the test levels of 50-year-olds in the 80s.
Is that food related?
There's a variety of variables that could play a role. Yeah. Food is definitely taking a role, more sedentary lifestyle. Also, you look at a ton of xenoestrogens that could come from the chemicals in your clothes to the off-gassing of your furniture. It could come from the cosmetics that you use that are endocrine disruptors. There's the plastics that you eat your food out of. There is a constant bombardment that is going to be really messing up the endocrine system, and I'd say specifically the male body, that's either going to increase estrogen or it's going to prevent testosterone from doing its thing. Both of those lead to a lower testosterone scenario, which we could go into great depths as to how that's not necessarily the best thing.
Boo.
But it's like, could you make lifestyle changes? Could you increase your zinc and vitamin D and magnesium and K2? Yeah, that would help your natural testosterone production. Could you go outside and get sunlight, get more vitamin D? That could help with your natural testosterone production. Could you lift weights? That helps with testosterone. Eat more protein, get more sleep, try to minimize stress. There's a lot of things that you could do to help offset that assault on your masculinity and testosterone levels. But you've got clinics like HRT clinics saying it's like, hey, here's a way for, yes, you can make lifestyle changes, but even with all those lifestyle changes, let's say you're hypogonadal. Let's just say that, hey, your endogenous production is just not up to par. And that's where these clinics come in and say, we can work with you to either optimize your endogenous, your natural machinery, or we'll supplement with an exogenous hormone and get you back up to a healthy level of testosterone, healthy for you. Because if you look at the range is 300 to 900. That's a big range, nanograms per deciliter. So you could be at 301 and you're within range, but are you optimal?
Right.
That's the question to ask. And that's why if you work with a really good HRT clinic, they'll go in depth with you and say, let's look at your lab work. So the thing I would always recommend to anybody that's asked,
get your blood work.
Get your blood work first. If you don't know what's going on under the hood, how do you know where you want to go if you don't know where you already are?
Yeah.
You don't know where you already are until you have the data. So get the lab work, see where you are, and then you work with a clinic, you work with a professional and say, all right, this is what's going on. This is a snapshot of where I am today. These are my goals. This is where I want to be. This is what I'm struggling with. How can we devise a plan to get there? If you're going to work with any HRT clinic in the country, the only one that I would go with is Pinnacle Health and Performance. These guys are based in Virginia. Very good friends with the CEO. His name is Adam Steele. His entire mindset is the customer comes first. He's all about taking care of customers. Again, with every industry, just as we talked about the supplement industry, there's always going to be bad actors.
Of course.
There's always going to be charlatans. Unfortunately, in the HRT space, that it's not immune to this. There are clinics that exist that mainly they just want to push protocols and stacks because they make the biggest margin. That's the reason I like Pinnacle. That's the reason I like Adam. The story about Adam, I'll just do a shameless plug for him, is he actually worked for 2 different clinics and left both of those positions because morally, he could not go through and say, I am being told by management to prescribe these protocols, knowing full well that this is going to cause more damage than harm. And what he did, he's just like, I can't sit here blindly and not do anything about it.
Can you talk about quickly the harm that can be done with overprescribing or not even doing your proper research or blood work panel on TRT, HRT?
Yeah. So, I mean, some of the risks that you could run into is it could be suppressive. So you could suppress your natural endogenous production. Also, if you look at a variety of compounds that you have at a disposal, it could really play with the lipids, so your cholesterol, your HDL and LDL. You could also look at the liver enzymes, so like your ALT and AST. So it's, again, every compound that's going to be in an HRT clinic's arsenal, a risk reward. There's going to be positives, there's going to be negatives. And so working with a clinic that says we want to mitigate the risks and maximize the benefits, that's what they should be doing. But some of the cases is look, for men, you've got a little bit more, I'd say, flexibility with the prescription. Like they can kind of bounce back a little bit more. With females, it's very sensitive. It is a very sensitive endocrine system. And so do females produce testosterone? Yes. They produce 1/10 of what males do, right? But you can still prescribe testosterone to females. Very, very small amounts, but tremendous benefits for energy, vitality, for fertility. If you want to talk about libido, if you want to talk about the ability to get stronger, put on more muscle, burn fat, lose weight easier, the energy, the drive, the focus, they get all those benefits too. It's just, they don't need as much testosterone. But if you overprescribe, you run the risk of virilization. Now, this process is basically, it's the masculinizing effects of testosterone. Now, we could probably all imagine a female that we could have met that has a very deep voice, that has a mustache, a 5 o'clock shadow, is jacked out of their mind, and has a lovely singing voice.
Baritone voice.
Probably some virilization. Yeah. So it's like now with men, again, as I said, there's a little bit more resilience. There's a little bit more flexibility. The ability to recover from something like that is higher. With women, the risk is higher of irreversible effects. And so it's like, once you go too far, it's really hard to come back if you're able to at all. Right. And so to go back to like just having that proper guidance, that proper observation, that's essentially what Adam did. He's like, you know what? I want to provide a level of service. He started his own company. He founded his own company about, I'd probably say 2-3 years ago. And I would look no further. Pinnacle Health and Performance. But that would be another, I'd say, diamond in that space.
So, Loic, do you feel like we've given the audience hope, or we just scared them shitless at this point?
I think we've given them information for them to, make their decisions and do their research,
And there's a lot of exciting medications that have come onto the scene. Like we talked about the GLP-1s. We talked about, Ozempic, Wegovy. There's other ones on the market. But then in addition to weight loss medications, look at the developments in peptides. Peptides that have come out onto the scene, like I'd say over the last 10 to 15 years, we've seen some really phenomenal products be more readily available out of a research lab that now you can get. The 2 big ones that come to mind that probably a lot of people have heard about, and if they haven't, this is a great time to learn. BPC 157 and TB500. Now, what does that stand for? There's a bunch of letters and numbers. What does that mean? BPC 157, Body Protective Compound 157. This is a peptide.
This is the one from Limitless, right?
That's NZT.
NZT. That's the same thing, right?
Yeah. Man, I wish actually there is an NZT drug, but
We can't talk about that.
Right.
The Illuminati's watching.
so with BPC,
I just had like my Kevin Hart moment where he's like, shh, don't talk about it.
with BPC, it's a peptide. So think of collagen. Collagen's peptide. What is a peptide? It's a string of amino acids, right? The cool thing about this peptide is it's one that your body already makes. It's made in your stomach. It's actually used to repair the GI lining, the intestinal lining in your stomach. So when people say they have leaky gut, typically there's an opening in the stomach, and some of these particles are coming into the bloodstream, causes a whole host of reactions. So BPC, it helps heal and repair. So what they found was if you take this peptide, if you synthesize it, you can either inject it, which was typically the protocol, or you can take it as a capsule. Looks like a multivitamin. And what it does is it dramatically accelerates healing. It helps with angiogenesis. It helps with red blood cell formation. It helps with reducing inflammation. I've taken this peptide multiple times. I tore my left pec in half in 2022. I tore my right meniscus in 2023. I tore my left meniscus in 2013. Those are just the most recent injuries. BPC, unfortunately, was not available back in 2013. But in 2022 and 2023, I was taking BPC and I was combining it with TB500. Now, TB, thymosin beta 500. This is another peptide. I think it's produced in the hypothalamus. I may not be exactly accurate on that one, so don't go into that one. But this one is great for anti-inflammation. The benefit of these peptides is you can combine them. There's a synergistic effect, not a 1 + 1 = 2. There's a 1 + 1 = 4. They really work better together. And personally, from experience, also from the science, from anecdotal evidence, I took these peptides, I was able to dramatically reduce the recovery time to coming back, especially with the pec, tore the muscle in half. Normally, that's a 6 months to a year that you're coming back. Tore the muscle June 3rd, 2022 in Denver, Colorado. Benching and essentially ripped it in half, felt like a rubber band was snapping. Really was not pleasant, especially when you're traveling out of state for work. And then you have to get out from under the bar, grab your chest, pick up your workout bag in one hand, and then ask the guy next to you, where's the nearest ER? Drive yourself to the hospital, still in your gym outfit, walk in, and they look at me and they're like, are you having chest pains? Yes, I'm having chest pains. Got moved up to the top of the list, but tore the muscle in half. 7 months later, January 3rd, 2023, I was benching more weight than I was using when I tore it.
Wow. That's quick.
Power of peptides. Okay. BPC, TB500.
Aaron Rodgers over here.
Ton of collagen. A lot of protein, and then working with other professionals and trainers and stuff like that. But it's like, do they work? Yes. But that's a recent development that's come out. And rather than doing injections, you can take them as capsules. The oral bioavailability of the arginate form, not the acetate, because there is a different salt form, is incredible. And you can take it as a maintenance. And it helps prevent injuries, but it also just helps you recover faster. You feel better. You got more energy. The reason a lot of people say is it sensitizes your growth hormone receptors. Growth hormone it's a hormone that we naturally produce, right? But growth hormone is really good for vitality. It's great for fat loss. It's great for recovery. And so if you can sensitize those receptors, you're basically using more of what you're already making. It's all about optimization here. And so a lot of customers are friends even that says, oh, I took BPC and I just feel better. Like it's really hard to like put my finger on it, but I feel better. I wake up crisper. I'm not as sore. BPC 157, the TB4, it's like that's what's happening is you're using more of that growth hormone.
So Henry, I mean, we got a lot of shows to go to this year. And is there one that you're looking forward to more than others?
For the rest of the year, really looking forward to Supply Side West.
I just want you to know it's the day after my birthday. We are landing in Vegas on the same day.
October 26th.
October 26th. It'll be my first day as a 39-year-old.
It's good to know.
How are you going to feel? What are we going to do?
Go to the gym.
Excellent.
I heard there's some good gyms in Vegas.
Tons of great
man.
gyms.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Ludwig shot in all of them at some point.
I shot in a few of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you gonna give him a fanny pack for his birthday? I think that's on.
You know, I feel like it's that's in the cards. I mean,
I think I'm gonna take him to pro sports,
you're gonna have matching fanny packs.
Oh,
and I want to see how Dwight reacts to a workout with us.
that's not a bad
Let's see
idea.
what happens.
Okay.
Maybe,
But,
maybe see some LA Raiders, Oakland, Vegas Raiders in there probably at the time.
Who knows? They do have a game against the Kansas City Chiefs on the 27th.
Oh,
I
that.
am-
So
I am
you might see
working-
more than.
I am working
A few
on
Raiders.
seeing if I can get tickets for some of the Expo squad
Oh, that'd be
that I
fun.
roll with. But I mean, if people want to interact with you and people want to see the stuff that you post about, I mean, you post such incredible content. Where would people look?
Yeah, so you can always find me on LinkedIn. Henry Havey is the LinkedIn profile. Do I have an Instagram? Yes.
Just a lot of shirtless pics, guys. No one wants to see that.
Not as active, and mainly it's just me reposting anything that my girlfriend posts. But LinkedIn, you can find me on there.
He like has broken so many hearts already. He's like, my girlfriend. Everyone's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
What?
The thing I love about her is she's a registered dietitian in training. She's also a certified health coach. She's incredibly hot.
I should let you travel to come see me.
And she did. She let me sneak away so I could come up here to Jersey.
There you go.
So a lot of value, a lot of, I'd say, an augmentation of knowledge in areas that were mainly blind spots for me. So like gut health, stuff like that. I've learned from her. I've learned a lot of stuff from being with her, like Ayurveda. And in addition to the value of eating vegetables. Now the implementation versus
Veggies are optional all the time, right? Dude, thanks for coming on the podcast. How was it?
it was great. It was great. I'm really glad to be here with you guys.
It's different with headphones and microphones and
Yeah,
all of that,
man.
right? It's not a Zoom podcast.
No.
No shade to all the Zoom podcasts out there, but y'all suck. No, I'm kidding. I love some of them. They're out there. Like
Yeah,
Kelsey
man,
Brothers,
we might incorporate some Zoom in the future over here on this podcast.
and then
Right?
they're gonna like snip back to this clip when Ankur said all these suck.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Well, listen, guys, thanks for tuning in. Henry, thanks for coming through, and we'll see
man.
you guys in the next episode.
See ya.